The 2015 municipal budget is $100,371,367.38. It's significantly below last year's 2014 municipal introduced budget. The budget is broken down into two operating categories, salary and wages and other expenses. The salary and wages is $44,460,652.07, which represents the total of 570 municipal employees, 475 full-time, 95 part-time. Of the part-time, 52 are crossing guards. And we've substantially reduced the number of manpower since 2007. Over 115 positions, full and part-time, have been eliminated. The other category is your other expenses, which represents the operational budgets for each of the various departments and the mandatory expenses. That totals $55,910,715.31 for a grand total of expenditures of $100,371,367.38. The appropriations are broken down into various categories. The largest category, and probably the most important, is our public safety, which represents $29,342,925.86, or roughly 29.23% of the budget. The public safety comprises of our fully paid police department, fire department, central dispatch, and OEM. The next largest category is our insurances. This covers all health insurances, general liability insurances, workers' comp insurances, which is $18,325,900, or roughly 18.26% of all total general appropriations. The next largest category is our public property and community services department. This department has been consolidated through the years and has probably eliminated the most manpower and has been reconsolidated into a bunch of smaller departments into one large department for the total of $13,498,942.41, or roughly 13.45% of our total budget. The Consolidation Committee continues to look at other avenues of savings where we could eliminate certain positions, and the city's taken on the mantra of doing more with less. This is definitely one department where that has occurred. The next largest category is our statutory expenses at $10,980,848, or roughly 10.94%. The statutory expenses include your pension costs, your Social Security, your FICA, your unemployment. Those are mandated expenses the municipality must budget for. The next largest category is our debt service, which is $10,275,450, or roughly 10.24% of all total appropriations. The other category is our general government. This is where all the smaller departments are put under the general government category, which is roughly $9,879,901.11, or 9.84% of our total appropriations. This includes the city clerk's office, the finance department, the tax assessor, the tax collector, and all smaller departments under general government. We have our reserve fund collected taxes of $3,978,000, or roughly 3.96% of total appropriations. The reason why a municipality has to have a reserve fund collected taxes, under state statute, we're obligated to give the county 100% of their tax levy, and we have to give the Board of Ed 100% of their tax levy. As a municipality, we never collect 100% of taxes. Our tax collection rate this year has been on the rise. It's over 98%. So we have to budget an amount of reserve for uncollected taxes, which roughly is $3,978,000. Our utilities for our 23 buildings consist of $2,294,000, or roughly 2.29%. We are looking to reduce that number. We go into various co-ops. We're very aggressive in looking to reduce expenses wherever possible for utilities, gas. We look for shared services wherever possible, but we do have 23 facilities that we have to take into account. And the last category is our library. The library is $1,795,400, or roughly 1.79%. 4 years ago, the state told all municipalities that we had to take that and keep that separate so the taxpayers could see what the library cost is. The city of Linden could budget less than the $1,795,000, but the governing body felt very important to budget a larger amount than the minimum, which was $1,610,000, that the state had said that would be the minimum we could budget, because the library has done so much for the residents of Linden. So this gives you an idea of where our appropriations are. The next slide is going to show you where our revenues are, and you'll see a drastic change over just a 10-year period in our state aid, which is one of our most significant revenues. Back in 2005, it made up roughly 31.80% of all our total general revenues. Now it only makes up 19.84%. We've been at the same level of state aid at $19,900,000 for the last 8 years. Back 10 years ago, we were at $23,789,000. So the governing body had to, unfortunately, look for other revenues, which basically have remained level over the last 10 years, and the amount to be raised by taxation had to change because of the loss of the state aid. So our reliance back in 2005 was 43.95%. Now it's 56.70%. There are a lot of redevelopment projects that are on the rise in Linden, so we're hopeful within the next several years that that reliance on the amount to be raised will decrease, and other revenues you'll see increase through various host community benefits and other reoccurring revenues being brought into the city. Our surplus is at 4.98% in 2015, as opposed to a much higher use of surplus in 2005 of 7.71%. And our receipt from delinquent taxes is at 2.36%, whereas in 2005 it was at 2.01%. And our library levy, 10 years ago, we didn't have to keep that separate, so it was part of your amount to be raised. We showed at 1.60% of our revenue sources. And I know this is everyone's major question. This governing body only has control over the municipal portion of your tax bill. The municipal portion of the tax bill will rise by, on an average assessed home of $134,069.78, or $5.81 per month. A tax point in 2015 is $270,790, which is a slightly decreased number over last year's tax point. The second component of your budget is your capital budget. Your capital budget is a plan that the governing body puts together to address our various infrastructure, roads, sewers, equipment for our various departments. The capital budget is a plan, and we cannot spend any authorization of any money until a bond ordinance is passed. A bond ordinance takes 2/3 vote of the governing body. That will then authorize us to incur debt. This year, the capital budget for the city of Linden is one of the largest since I've been here in my 27 years. The public safety department's is $3,019,500. It's a critical time for the communication systems in the city of Linden. There actually is a bond ordinance on tonight to address over $2 million worth of expenditures for the upgrade of our citywide communication system. This is something that will benefit the fire department, public works departments, police department, central dispatch departments. We also have in this year's budget a disaster recovery project for the police and fire and non-public safety departments. In the event something occurs at City Hall, we'll have a remote location. We also purchased some SUVs for our police department and some certain firefighting equipment. So that's the part of the capital budget plan, and you'll see through the next couple of months various ordinances that will come before the governing body as to what plan they'll actually approve, which part of the components. The next is our non-public safety departments. Our engineering, which is probably the most critical, deals with our streets and our infrastructure, our roads, our sewers. This year we have various street resurfacing. We have our sanitary sewer improvements. We are right now working on a landfill wetlands enhancement program. In 2007, there was an administrative consent order that the DEP had the city enter into, and there are certain guidelines that the city has to adhere to. One of them was wetlands enhancement. Right now, we're applying for a federal and state EDA grant program, so some of the numbers that you see will go down as we get the revenue in through the grants. We have safe routes to schools. This was something that the mayor and council had worked very aggressively to work on our Wood Avenue corridor. We just recently received $200,000. The remainder of that is going to be run through our capital budget because we have to have a match for that. That's going to run for School 6 and School 1, It was instrumental working with the Board of Education, the principals, and our traffic bureau in order to secure that significant grant. We also have our curb and sidewalk reconstruction and the landfill closure. We have council president and our engineering committee have been very deeply involved in our landfill meetings, trying to minimize as much expenses as possible and come up with a comprehensive cost-benefit analysis of the landfill that we're going to have probably within the next month, so that we can limit our landfill expenses as the years go on. So the total for engineering is $4,789,500. Of that, we will get certain grants, so that number will go down. We also have non-public safety computer equipment that's budgeted, that runs through my finance department. However, this is going to cover any department that's not public safety. We're also looking to become paperless, so we're looking to purchase computers or tablets for our governing body members, and also for the library. We're going to be purchasing some computers through our capital budget and donating it to the library because they have some antiquated computers. So the city's going to be entering into a shared service agreement with them. We also have our other significant public property department where we have to budget $821,000 through our capital budget. On our 6-year capital improvement plan, the roof and HVAC replacement, it's been about 10 years of requesting that. This is something that the council cannot put off any longer. Therefore, it's a significant number, but we are applying for grants through the county that's assisting us for replacing of the HVAC at the multipurpose center. There's also certain equipment that's been antiquated over the last 20 years. We're looking to upgrade our equipment at certain facilities for our seniors and our residents. We also have a pickup truck, a tractor, and a senior citizen bus in this year's capital budget. Again, those ordinances will be forthcoming once the department head is ready to proceed. They will come before the governing body. And another department that has a significant capital budget is our Public Works Department. The Public Works Committee has been working very diligently in trying to move forward with the one-armed garbage trucks. They've had great success in certain areas. There's actually an ordinance on the agenda tonight to, if anyone wants to purchase an additional can, that ordinance is being brought forward through our Public Works Committee. Councilwoman Cosby-Hurling has been working very closely with the Public Works Department in making sure that they get the equipment that they need to work as efficiently and as effectively as they possibly can for the citizens of Linden. So we have in this year's capital budget an automated sanitation truck, additional carts, portable truck lifts for their Public Works garage, hot patch trailer. As everybody knows, we're trying right now to catch up on our infrastructure of certain our roads. We've had a horrendous winter. This is something that will benefit the Public Works Department. We also have our turf tractor, grass cutter, brush chipping machine, additional asphalt, and the pickup truck. So the total expenditures for Public Works capital is $922,900. What we try to do is to maintain a level debt service in Linden. So we don't normally have those high capital budgets. We try to keep between 3 and 5 million. This year there was certain extraordinary circumstances that the governing body felt we had to include in the capital. Next year's capital will be significantly lower than this year's capital. We just did a general obligation bond sale where Standard & Poor's had allowed the city to remain at the same bond rating, a AA bond rating, and also kept our outlook as stable. So we are looking at our debt, and we want to make sure that we keep it level. This year was an extraordinary large capital, but it will go down next year. And the last slide, basically, I touched upon it earlier, is our tax collection rate. It's on the rise. It's over 98%, and that I have to attribute to our tax collector, Stacy Karen, and her staff. They work tirelessly to bring in our receipts as much as possible. By having tax collection and taxpayers paying their taxes on time, it assists the city in allowing us to bring in revenue and being able to keep the budget at a manageable level below the 2% cap this year. Our appropriations are under the 2% cap levy by over $200,000. So I want to just take this opportunity to thank all the taxpayers and thank everyone here for your time and attention, and I'd be glad to entertain any questions you may have. Thank you.